Next up, we have another Fisk and Vanessa marriage counseling session.
The fucking
Yes!
banger scenes that everyone loves. I actually have it summarized that it's like Welcome to Daredevil, where Vanessa talks about her sex toys hands and Cucked sweats in the background. That is the scene. It's like, woohoo! I'm glad. I've gained so much from this.
So you can interrupt me anytime on this one. Heather prompts them to talk about Vanessa's affair with Adam, which Fisk describes as a betrayal. And then Vanessa retorts that she didn't know whether, or like when or if Fisk was going to be coming back, and that constituted betrayal.
So their relationship now has been going for many
A decade?
years, and it is
Quite a while.
you'd call it pretty
Decade.
deep, like in terms of their investment in each other. He leaves his hospital bed, presumably, or wherever he's recovering. She doesn't know where he is, and she decides, I'm going to cheat on him. It's like, that doesn't sound like Vanessa at all. There could be countless reasons why he had to go somewhere. You have no idea. What do you mean, like, oh, you left?
He betrayed her first, so it's all good.
She has no idea what happened. What if he was kidnapped?
Everything's on the table.
I mean, that's true. What if he was kidnapped?
She's got needs, Smaller.
But that's kind of the thing. That was never her character. She was invested in him for well beyond reasons of like, I need to be fucked. I need to find guys with good hands. I'm sorry, you weren't there.
Vanessa needs her big willy, okay?
Okay.
Remember, Vanessa spent years, like, basically in exile, away from Fisk while he was trying to, like, rebuild his life.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea of them being separated for a considerable amount of time ain't exactly, like, a new thing. And I guess their logic would be, yeah, but she didn't know if Fisk was coming back, so it was all good to cheat on him.
That's a big plot of their relationship in season 3 when she does make it back is, you know, how I kind of felt being watched all the time while I was gone, you know, and him being on the phone talking to his guys watching over her. It's like, it was relevant. It wasn't just, oh, she's gone and out of the show. It was like, yeah, she's out of the show in person for a big chunk of it, but she's not out of the story. She's very relevant to Fisk's life and his decisions and his attitude.
And from Fisk's perspective, like, did we ever establish why he would have left and not told her where he's going? I mean, it's like,
no.
Why not tell her that, oh yeah, by the way, I was cast in this other show that nobody watched, and like there's a girl I've never mentioned before, but she's like my daughter, so I'm gonna go rescue her. Oh shit, it didn't work, but I tried. Why not tell her?
I think it's worth saying, because I recently watched Hawkeye for the first time, just so I had context for Kingpin, and it strikes so hard that he's not this Kingpin in that show, and I don't even mean that as like a criticism of writing. I mean, it might actually be that they weren't intending necessarily that they were the same Kingpin, because he's basically like superpowered Kingpin in Hawkeye. He's hyper strong.
He tanks, like Kate Bishop like shoots like a brick arrow at him that like explodes.
He gets hit by a car and he like gets back up.
He gets hit by a car and launched through a window. And I guess at some point,
and obviously he was shot in the face.
Yeah, there's that he survived, so yeah.
Yeah, but like you watch it and you're like, oh, did they plan this to just be the MCU's Kingpin? He comes in and they kill him, and that's that. It's like a cool thing we've got there. And then they were like, oh fuck, maybe we could use him for Echo, I guess. And then some negotiation involving getting him into a Daredevil Born Again. And so they had to like, oh yeah, the bullet to his fucking face didn't get him. It's alright. They knew.
We need to do something with it. It's like it made him a cuck. It like destroyed the part of his brain that was against being a cuck. So
interesting and well written. Yeah.
Yes, pretty good.
The worst fate is when not that they lobotomize you in general, but when they take the part of your brain that prevents you from being a cuck. Like, don't do it.
So you know, in response to the idea that he betrayed her first, you know, Fisk, he wants to respond, but Heather silences him. She's like, no, I don't want to hear from you right now. I'm gonna let Vanessa talk. It's like, yeah, all right. And then she starts to explain that Adam was like, she starts talking about how Adam was like a great artist, and Fisk is like growing visibly uncomfortable. He's like fidgeting around and he's just making these expressions.
This scene was not made by people who like the Netflix Daredevil. It's not possible. What are you doing?
And Vanessa talks about the guy she cheated on Fisk with in a weird, uncomfortable scene.
His sexy hands, and he has to just stare in the background.
And then this part's weird. So Vanessa says that Adam was attractive because he wasn't part of Fisk's world, which feels like you've moved her to a very different. How many times do we have to say this? In season 3, like Vanessa was very much like as part of developing the relationship with Fisk, was very invested in becoming more so an active part of his world. But now we've skipped it to where the opposite was the case, that she likes people who were beyond his world and wanted a connection with somebody that was beyond that world. We've just skipped there. And of course you say like, well, a whole bunch of time has passed. It's like, yeah, but like, you don't understand. Like, it's pretty frustrating to have a character like flip completely, and we didn't see that development at all.
You owe us an explanation.
Well, they would have
get
presented
it over her
this
head, or
like they would have pitched this idea, and I think they've just been like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. It's like, imagine Vanessa fell out of love with him or cheated on him, and they have to solve it. It's like, what the why? And it's like, well, for the same reason why we made Indiana Jones, hate everything about his life and suffer in misery. It's like, that's interesting, isn't it? You're like, you guys. I don't even know where to start.
The only unintended kind of benefit it does have is that it kind of completely justifies Kingpin going mad and becoming a murderer again. It's like he's having to sit here and just be nagged by two Howardens for hours every week. And so like he just gets annoyed and angry. He doesn't want to hear about how sexy the fucking cuck's hands are. He's going to go and beat the shit out of people. This is how he becomes a villain again. It's incredibly compelling writing.
That's exactly what the writers would say. They'd be like, this was good because it said something. You're just like, shut up. Just shut the fuck up.
What do you mean become a villain again? Like, he never stopped.
Well, the whole world's forgotten it, Rags. He's like,
no, I guess. I mean, he's mayor now,
They're
so
born
everything's
again.
on the table.
Did you read the title?
Right.
Oh, that's true.
Born again has nothing to do with the
Harry,
source. It's just supposed to be,
Elizabeth dunks him in the water in an alternate dimension.
Remember, Cherry said that half the cops would throw themselves off the Chrysler building for Fisk.
Why?
Cherry said it, which means they would, because Mayor Fisk is awesome. What a cool... No, that didn't happen. Wait, did it? No, it didn't.
No.
So, Fisk declares that infidelity within his marriage has never happened before, and Vanessa scoffs, again reiterating that his leaving was tantamount to cheating. She's like, okay, all right. They really like to hone in on that. You left. That's betrayal.
How do you
so
even
my
move
betrayal
on?
ain't so bad.
Next time he leaves the house, I'm just going to the shops. Please don't fuck anyone while I'm out.
No matter how sexy their hands are, okay?
Now, I found this funny. So, Vanessa explains that her father, who is a drunken gambler, my first thought with that was, you know what I'm thinking about, Mulder, right?
This is a Simpsons reference? Yeah.
Yes. For your information, I'm his father. His father, the drunken gambler. Yeah. That's right. And who might you be? Punches him in the face. So yeah, Vanessa's father was a drunken gambler who would leave for weeks at a time, which took a significant toll on her mother, whom she lost a lot of respect for because of that. And then she goes on to claim that she needed to feel alive rather than crushed down. And Fisk never heard any of this before.
I did. That's my favorite part of that conversation, where she finishes saying, "It's so like blatant too. My father would leave, and he was bad, and my mum stayed with him." It's like, and then he's like, "Wow, you never told me about that." And I was just saying, like, because it didn't happen. Like, you made this fucking shit up. What the hell?
There's an actual 10-year that's like the blip did happen. It was the 10 years between season 3 and Born Again. That's the real blip.
God, there's writers who are like, we can make anything happen in that gap, and you're like, no, stop.
So, Fisk admits that he confronted Adam, but he insists that, like, we just talked. But Vanessa is certain that Fisk did more than that. With his voice trembling, Fisk says that he couldn't imagine a life of meaning without Vanessa. And it's just funny because it's like, well, the feeling ain't mutual, clearly. Which it used to be, but no, it's been changed at this point. And then the two of them both declare that they don't know where Adam is. And in response to this, Heather asks them to think about whether they're seeking to dissolve their marriage or preserve it, and that there's no real healing without forgiveness.
When she said that,
which of course is all directed at Kingpin.
Well, yeah, but it's also just like
directed.
The concept that, you phase out and in with these episodes because they're so painful, and you come in on, like, are we here to dissolve a marriage or preserve one? I'm just saying, like, what the fuck? Why am I here? Like, what is this?
I mean, this is Daredevil, like it just sort of feels like it's worth reminding them of that. This is Daredevil.
You don't have time to waste, and we've seen the results of it. By fucking around for as long as you have, it's over.
Pretty
costs
much.
You. Every single scene costs you.
We're 4 episodes in, and we're a while away from from essentially what you could say is what a lot of people are here for.
Yeah.
But in any case, they're about to leave, but Heather wants to speak to Vanessa, and she asks Vanessa if she feels safe in her marriage. And Vanessa assures Heather that Fisk would never harm her, which, it's just like, with how much, like, Kingpin has changed, because if you were talking about it in the Netflix series, that would be something that would be more of, like, a statement that you could believe as being true, that, like, Vanessa is basically completely safe from him. Like, probably. Whereas here it's like, well, he's changed enough that I don't even know. Is that something we're meant to conclude is actually true about this version
I get what you're saying. Because, like, on the prior hand, as in the prior seasons, it's almost a part of the story that Kingpin values him more than literally everything in the world. Like, that's how it's evolved. But at this point, I don't know what character they're writing. Whatever. Yeah, it's like, no, and you're right. Are we supposed to take away from this that we start to worry that Kingpin might hurt her? Is that something they want us to think? I don't know. Maybe. You understand though? If he like beat her to death, I think people would be a little bit upset with the show, more so even than they are now.
Well, with all the marriage counseling scenes, it's really great drama right here.
I think all of that to have that kind of payoff, which I don't think, from what we've seen up to episode 8, is not what they're doing. But at the same time, I can't trust the people who write this. I have no idea what they're up to.
So this part's just weird. So Fisk he's listening to a classroom full of children singing "We Built This City," and like it's not good. And he's just sort of sitting there like awkwardly listening to this.
I think they actually I read somewhere that they recorded it once and the kids were actually quite good, and then they recorded it again to make it sound worse, and then it becomes so bad that you struggle to believe even kids are shit enough to produce that performance.
Well, and on that note, right, there's a certain math that needs to be done here. For every, selection of great scenes in the Netflix show, there's probably some here and there that we'd all agree, like, oh yeah, that wasn't a particularly good one or whatever, but there's an average that gets created, and an enjoyment level that doesn't get ruined by any one bad scene or whatever have you. In this now, all of the Kingpin scenes we've had, he's in therapy, he's getting schooled on city planning, or he's cringing at children. Like, I need the people who made this to sit down and just be like, do you know who Kingpin is? Do you know what people enjoy about Vincent D'Onofrio's portrayal of Kingpin? It isn't these things. It isn't him being shit at his job, being like confused and freaked out by shitty singing from children, and it's not sweating while being cucked. Like, these are all in the list.
Think about, like, from where you began with Kingpin. Like, Kingpin was so scary that when the guy that Matt was defending, when he said his name, he fucking threw his head through like a spike. That's how scared he was.
Terrified of him, yeah.
Never say his name.
And then that, like, over the course of the season, it starts to ramp up just how much power he has, to where, like, Matt finds himself essentially like, on the there are many corrupt cops that are like gunning for him, that makes it impossible to achieve his task, that like anybody that he's helping or trying to, these situations he's trying to resolve, it's like every 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Like, Kingpin was established definitively in season 1 as being like an almost unstoppable force with how much power he'd attained. And then of course in season 3 you see that he was able to work his way from being in prison to essentially being in charge again, with able to have like FBI agents that were essentially his bodyguards, like they were working for him. Like, this is who Fisk is supposed to be. He's supposed to be somebody who's incredibly successful at just amassing immense power, institutional power.
Shout out to season 3 for the change in set that was very gradual across the whole series. Like
gradual
his apartment.
It starts a lot more prison-y, but it just gets more and more and more like a home.
To the point that he gets his suit, he eventually gets his suit back. It's like, yep, it's a gradual just showing that he's gaining power, but now he's just like a goober. He can't do anything. Most of the scenes are just about him being incompetent because we've decided to reset him we decided to have the Hawkeye and Echo continuity be relevant when nobody cares to put him in this position. So it's like, oh, you got to build him back up to being Kingpin, but in the meantime, you just got to watch him be embarrassing.
The writers would tell you that this is incredibly clever parallelism because, you know, both like the hero and the villain are being suffocated by the system, one of which, you know, one of them wants to run the system, one of them wants to uphold the system, but oh dear, the system is letting them both down and they're sitting there having to do things they don't want to do and it's horrible. And this shakes their faith in something or other. But it's like there are ways to do that, even if you want to do that. And I'm not convinced you should have done when you had so many more interesting stories to tell, like Kingpin's actual rise to the mayoralty, as opposed to, you know, him already being there because we didn't find that story interesting enough. Even if you want to do it, there are better ways of doing it than this. It's just and over again. I think we sort of got the point after the fucking 4th marriage counseling scene. We don't need to keep going on with it.
Yeah, just excellent work. This is the way that you express that kind of connection, you know? This is the best way to do it.
So while Fisk is sitting there very much not enjoying the performance, Daniel shows Sheila an article from the BB report, which calls Fisk a union buster. And then he tells her that this is his fault, that he was responsible for the leak. So Sheila tells Daniel she'll handle it. And then, you know, the performance is over, Fisk applauds it, and then tries to escape as quickly as possible, which is like, you know, in terms of like a joke, it's like, alright, you know.
He doesn't want to listen to the annoying kids, like, okay.
It's like, alright.
Yeah.
So Sheila tells Fisk of the leak, and how it's gonna mess up his plans for the port, and he's furious, and he tells Sheila to organize an all-hands-on meeting, before complaining about all of these engagements that he has to do as mayor. This next one it's the Latvian Heritage Day, and the Latvian singers that are there also sing "We Built This City," but in Latvian, and Fisk is really like, okay, yeah, all right, they sing the same song, but it's Latvian. So yeah, Cuckpin, he's having dinner with his wife, and she asks if she should feel safe in the marriage, prompting Fisk to explain that he's good at persuading people, but he's not so good at forgiveness. He insists that he's trying, and that he would like for things to be the way they were before. And then Vanessa says she's not the same woman as when he left, and Fisk tells her that she's even more extraordinary.
You know what? You're definitely right, writers. She is more extraordinary than ever.
No, when a woman cheats on her husband, she's more extraordinary than ever.
That's
like,
right. She's
hell.
better at him than his job. She was in the right for cheating on him. She is just so extraordinary. She extraordinaries all over the place.
Stuff like that, you know, we've had so many references now. It's like Kingpin. Who's enjoying the Kingpin scenes? Like, actually, seriously, they're all so terrible. And I still I outright hate the fill the hole scene too. I know a lot of people like that one, but I thought it was shit.
Fill that hole.
I enjoy them ironically. I mean, it's always sort of funny to see what new depravities they foist upon him. I love the bit where he said, no, it might be later in this episode actually, the bit where he says to the guy who fucked his wife, we've shared the same experience. Oh. It's very funny. I love that scene, but not for the reasons they intended.
I used to like him though, the character, but I have to say goodbye at this point, yeah?
The sanitation worker, he tells Fisk that the mural that he was trying to remove, the anti-Fisk mural, can't be removed because it was painted with human blood.
This is such a strange thing, because like, he gets there eventually, right? But they make a point of him being incredibly long-winded, and like he's saying, "Oh, I'm so pleased to meet you, Mr. Mayor," and then he talks about like the specific epoxy stuff that was used and like the machine he had to rent to get it. And it's only right at the end he says, "Oh yeah, and by the way, it was difficult to remove because it was made of human blood." It's like, but you're a sanitation worker. Surely that's got to
have come up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's number one, rather than like all of this other stuff. He's passionate about his job, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good thing, if anything. But yeah, you figure you get to that straight away. But then Fisk, I'm learning this, he wants Gallow in his office immediately. You remember Gallow? We haven't seen him for episodes now.
Oh, God, Gallow.
We haven't seen him since episode 2. The commissioner who actively wants to bring Fisk down and hasn't really been doing much about it over the last 4 episodes.
Oh, he's working on something. He's working on something.
I mean, right now he's not. He will be.
He will be soon, but not. Not at this.
Gallow.
No.
is kind of just another fascinating insight into how shit the writers are. We've already pointed out in the prior Daredevil stream how stupid it is that Kingpin would ever hire someone who actively despises him into a position of power that can easily sabotage him at any time. It makes no... When he was like, I'm quitting, I hate you, that's a good news. Like, bye, I'm gonna get one of my own, cronies to be the police commissioner. It makes the most sense. But no, we're not doing that. And the consequences of that have been made very real in the latest episode. But up until that point, Gallow is just like a stooge. I don't know why. He's I think that the implication, of course, is the threat is so effective. But I don't think this works. And it never was going to, because he's planning on... It's like a little time bomb that the writers are proud of for some reason. When it's the only worry I would have. If I was advising Kingpin, I'd be like, that guy's gonna fuck you. And he's probably fucking you right now. In any small way that he can get away with that doesn't cost him that threat of the kid that he has or whatever the fuck, he's going to do it. Why would you ever want him in that position? And then, of course, the writers are very proud of themselves to reveal that he is going to fuck him in the probably episode 9 or season 2, whatever have you. Gallow is like access to a particular result, and they just shoved him in when he absolutely doesn't belong there. And then you realize, like, oh, it's kind of like a lot of the characters, isn't it? Like TikTok Man is pretty much the same thing. I can't even say that for... Why am I always forget her name. The
Person.
Yeah. I can't even say that for her, because she doesn't sue... You could be like, well, she's exposition. You're like, you could do that with anybody. You wouldn't even need a person for that, necessarily. You just have
Yeah, that's what Cherry does more so. Like, Cherry delivers the actual exposition that matters.
Cherry annoys me more because he's always fucking critical of Matt, and I have no idea why.
Yeah. Look, it's better that he's not being Daredevil. That's good.
By the way, because I had it noted and I missed the chance to talk about it, but Lucas says, "See a Fisk, give my wife your regard, or give your wife my regards," and it's like, how is he not just instantly killed after saying that?
Nah, it's all good.
And you'd be like, but he is eventually killed. You'd be like, yeah, not by Fisk.
No.
It's so crap to me that when he's like, you're out of the game, or he says something like that, and he's more in the game than ever. He's got official power. Like, just all of this nonsense.
You should be terrified of a person
terrified.
like Fisk, who is in that position, who has access to these kinds of resources and influence. Who can operate openly.
It's all good. It's all good. And now we got another great cuckpin scene right here. We'll go through it, but basically it's a scene where Vanessa basically explains to, like, Kingpin how to, like, interact with rich people. Because this is something he's never done before.
She explains how fundraisers work. Absolutely insane.
Fisk.
He is a baby. He has no history. He's a clone. He's a physical clone of Fisk who got his memory wiped. Like, I don't understand what the fuck they're doing.
So, Fisk. I find this part really funny. Fisk, he's like, manipulating people comes down to finding what a person wants and either withholding it or providing it. It's like, those are the only things you can do with something that you have that someone else wants, is either hold on to it or give it to them. He presents it like those are the only two options. It's mutually exclusive. You either give it to them or you don't. Like, why is he explaining it like it's some brilliant idea? Yeah, you get what people want and then decide to either give it to them or not.
That's crazy. Wow.
Does he ever actually apply that, whatever that lesson is supposed to be? Does he? It doesn't even really apply it in, like, the big scene with all the rich people, does he? Because it's like,
not with them.
At what point does he try to identify what these people want and need?
Well, so we'd be jumping ahead, but one of the ladies here, who's particularly, like, standoffish with him, eventually seems to have essentially been beaten into submission by Fisk. But that's in episode 8. But we have no idea why. It's like you said, in this scene, he just failed. He fails big time. Basically, like, as Vanessa is explaining, like, what he needs to do, we just keep seeing him run into dead ends with all of the rich people saying, like, yeah, you can't do shit. We're not going to let you do shit. We're in charge. And he just sort of sits there and takes it with the cockpin expression of frustration.
Yeah, he has no comebacks. He has no, like, secret, back pocket weapon that he could pull on everybody. He has no piece of leverage that he's been saving. It's just a big L.
Yep.
That's all it ever is.
And one of the people that we see here is the swordsman Jack. He's the swordsman there, and he's saying, and he tells them that the revitalization project doesn't align with the interests of rich people, which I don't believe for a second. You telling me like a whole bunch of rich people wouldn't be interested in substantial like property development in New York? Really?
Okay. All right.
Like in New York of all places. You know,
especially the creation of a new like major port area that would bring a lot of economic and
as well as
shipping
homes,
business
housing
to the area. And
yeah, I don't get it. I don't get why. Like if like I just don't understand.
For how long did they
like,
say? A long time. So this would be
that property values in New York are currently declining. I don't think they are, but I could be wrong about that. But whatever. They don't want to do it. Is the point? They don't want to, and they make fun of Fisk. He's left speechless by all of these remarks, and also, and as the cherry on top, we cut back to earlier in the night. Fisk is putting on one of his suits, and he tears it because he's getting chongo.
He's getting fat, everybody. Yeah.
Is that all that's supposed to be? Is that for the audience?
Yeah, because Kingpin was fat, and
fat.
so him getting fatter means he's returning to Kingpin form.
Aren't his suits supposed to be made of like Kevlar or something?
They are, yes.
So he can tear
Does he
his
still have
bulletproof
access to
suit
those?
because he gets fat, or does he not yet? Does he not have
I
those
guess
same
these ones
suits anymore?
aren't.
I don't know why they wouldn't be.
Well, you'd think it's more important now that you're not just a mob boss, but also the mayor of New York. And
Nobody's
going
to try and assassinate him.
That's never
Nobody
gonna
would ever
happen.
try to shoot him in the middle of a dance.
Well, especially when Luca has already signaled basically that he's out to get him at this point.
Yes.